how do I explain this? This has got to help with dementia. Or whatever it is I seem to have at the moment. Okay. Well, hey everybody, welcome to Fingerstyle, Beginning Fingerstyle Guitar number 4. So, as I've mentioned in pretty much every one of these beginning fingerstyle songs, the idea behind it was somebody had asked me for some practice things to do to kind of get started with fingerstyle. And so I showed a couple of things, right? And I showed the doing that with any chord you want to do it in. That little arrangement, I did that in part 1, and then we kind of started on this Merle Travis type of fingerstyle where you do the rolling bass notes, okay? And so, really the first thing that has to be done is the bass lines have to be solid, So I really think that when you're brand new to fingerstyle, that you really desperately need to get that down. This right here. And I think because that's really your anchor with fingerstyle. Now there's other forms of, the bass notes that you can do. There's a droning bass note, like a Mississippi Delta kind of blues, where or Lightning Hopkins, I think, does this double beat. That kind of thing. So there is that, and then, which is kind of a double bass note beat, So you have that. There is, and we can, I'll wait for your feedback for those of you that are trying to learn fingerstyle, because I sure don't want to spend several hours in here putting together a video that goes nowhere. Nobody's finding it useful. So that's one reason why I depend on your comments. So if you're somebody watching the video and you've just kind of saved these and you go back every once in a while and see if there's another one uploaded, just create a YouTube account. It's real easy. It's just like creating an email account or any other account. And that way you can make comments on the videos. You can like the videos if you like them. And you can make suggestions, because either that, There's that. You can subscribe and turn the alarms on and all that thing. But there's another thing, because at the bottom of every one of these descriptions, I put my email address, the one I use for YouTube. And, if the YouTube account's got you freaked out, well, just send me an email and let me know if there's something you would prefer. So going back to this, I think the first one I did was just like that. And I kind of, I'd gone to, I don't know, one YouTube channel. I wanted to learn a little bit of how Mississippi John Hurt was doing what he was doing. For the first time in my life, I actually saw a video of him about 6 years ago, maybe. And I thought, oh, He doesn't have somebody else playing with him. It's just him, which is what attracted me to fingerstyle. That, and I love these old, turn of the century Delta blues kinds of licks. And the reason I like them is because of the simplicity of that. So that was a simple music. That was simple music. I love simple music. And I think that it's got a lot of value. And I'm not any different than 90% of you watching this channel. There's about 10% of my subscribers, I think, that they do this for a living. This is what they do. They play music. And so I'm not really talking to them, but I mean, I am. I love you guys. Don't get me wrong. But if you're a professional guitarist, that you got to start somewhere. And you got to have the desire and the motivation to stick with it and go, yeah, I'm going to do this, and that's, so the really, 90% of learning guitar is determination. And the other 10% is the exercise of it, right? If you're going to school and you're going to get your electrical engineering degree, you dadgum better well have 90% determination, because the truth is, the rest of it comes tremendously easier if you have that. I'll just say that. Now, none of this is going to be easy to start with, because this has to do with rhythm and timing. Rhythm, which is timing, right? And it takes practice, just like it did take you practice to learn how to make chords and, use a pick. And those things are, everything takes time. So my suggestion is, and maybe some of these beginning fingerstyle lessons have kind of gotten away from me a little bit, but because I've had some guitar reviews, and I've even had a few folks wasn't too happy with those reviews, but I'm coming back to this because the truth is that's the roots of this channel is fingerstyle. Not just fingerstyle, but, primarily it's fingerstyle. And that's what I started out with, and that's what I enjoy doing. And one of the reasons is because, like many of you, I'm not up on a stage performing somewhere. I'll be honest with you, at my age, I don't want to be up on a stage performing anywhere. It's 111 degrees here in Texas today. I promise you, if somebody called me up and said, hey, well, $50,000, I'll pay you $50,000 to come up here on this stage today, I would have turned them down. That's how hot it was here today. So you couldn't call me a professional musician. You couldn't. There's no way you could do that. I'm just not a professional musician. But at one time, I played in, I've probably played in 3 or 4 bands. I'll never forget the first band I played in, if any of you are interested in it. If you're not, just fast forward a little bit. But I was about 14, 15 years old, maybe, somewhere in there. I'd just gone into high school. I remember that. And you guys know, if you've watched some of the videos, I grew up in Mesquite, Texas. Pretty much in the 60s and 70s. That's when I grew up there. And so myself and a good friend of mine, Joe Garvin, I haven't seen him since high school. I hope he's well. And another gentleman named Henry Stewart. And we used to, and we called Henry Tank back then. And Tank was the drummer, and Joe and I were rhythm guitarist. Though actually he played more guitar than I did, so I kind of sang. And we used to go over to Joe's house, and I just remember us in sitting in his room, had the drums set up, and we just, that's where I first learned how to begin playing with other people. Those were good folks. I wouldn't take anything for that. And then I played in a few bands when I got older, and of course, the rest of it, you folks know. I had a small recording studio for a while I was actually working for a living, because there wasn't any money in that, trust me. But I did have a lot of fun, and I did learn a lot. But I said all that to say that sometime in the 90s, I stopped playing in bands, early 90s. And I went to, just playing guitar for me. And then, of course, I even put that down because I still had, a family to feed. So I left the guitar alone until what year is this? 2023. So been about 2017 maybe. I finally picked a guitar back up. That's quite a stretch, not having a guitar in your hands. And but I said then, I want to learn how to do this for myself. That's why I'm doing it. And so that's why I'm doing it. So if that's you, then look, I'm not anything special. And for those of you that can't do fingerstyle or have not achieved fingerstyle yet, don't be thinking I'm some kind of a musician, because you're sadly mistaken. I really not. I'm not. And I know I'm not. I've seen musicians before, and believe me, I don't fit that category. I'm just a guy with a YouTube channel. That's all. Like I told Robert Sabo, I'm not anybody. I'm just a nobody. Okay. But I happen to just love guitars. I particularly, now I love all guitars, but I particularly love acoustic guitars. And I thoroughly enjoy, I'm a noodling nut. I sit around and noodle all the time. Just make up stuff, and enjoy it. And that's what I want to do. And I'm happy with where that's landed me, If somebody took a noodle I had and actually turned it into something, which I would find hard to believe, if they thought of me after they did it, that would be fantastic. But they don't even have to do that. Okay, so let's get back to this a little bit and go into this, because really what I want to get you to doing is this E, A7B roll. That's what I want to get you doing. And then after tonight, we're going to take quite a little break from beginning fingerstyle guitar, because you're going to need time to work on this. And it's ridiculous for me to keep putting videos out on it when if you haven't caught up there yet, okay? You're not going to turn into a fingerstyle guru overnight. You're just not. It doesn't work that way. I don't care if you've been picking a guitar for 50 years. You start doing fingerstyle, the only thing you can say at that point is, I know how to make the chords. But I don't think that you're going to get on your guitar after you go, oh, that's what he's doing. You're not going to jump on your guitar and do that. You're just not. But you will. Because trust me, I'm slow. I'm a slow learner. And I can't do things mistake-free. I'm not that guy. Put me in front of a camera and I've got to be able to edit, because I will mess up songs. I don't have the confidence I used to have when I played guitar. I don't. But I enjoy it. And hopefully that's where you fall. And in that way, we're a lot alike. It's just that back in 2018, 17, 18, I'd had enough of not really knowing how to play a guitar, or being able to do something that was not just, strumming on a guitar. And there's nothing wrong with strumming on a guitar. If you like that and that's what you do, that's where you're at. I'm down with it. But if you want to take it to the next level, well, here you go. This is what you have to do. And there's no getting around it. So I'd like to know, for those of you working on fingerstyle guitar, either shoot me an email or leave a comment and tell me this is helping you, or you're already lost, And, of course, that is the one good thing about videos. You just go back to video number 1 and watch it over and over until you can actually do that, okay? And then go to part 2. And then go to part 3. And then, here we have part 4, right? I think it's part 4. I'm going to have to double check after I get done. But I think it's part 4. So here's what we did. See? Not mistake free. come out of that B7 into that E and do that sounding kind of fancy stuff, right? And that's what we're going to do. And then from there we can do all kinds of things. You know, you can at that point you can begin to pick up some of these neck chord shapes and do some things with it that you couldn't do before, like that kind of thing. I forget what the name of that song is. Down and Out. Nobody knows you when you're down and out. Maybe it's called something else, but those words are in that song. It's an old song. But there's all kinds of things that you can do from that point. You just got to get that starting place going. Okay, once you get that starting place going, sky's the limit for you. It's a journey. I still haven't learned the third part of Windy and Warm. I need to go back and see. Tim Van Roy does an outstanding job teaching that tune by Tommy Emmanuel. It's not by Tommy, but Tommy did an arrangement on it that was a little unique, let's say. Probably one of the greatest fingerstyle guitarists that ever lived, Tommy Emmanuel. That's why I say I can't play guitar. I go watch him, I figure it out, and I'm not a guitar player. That guy's a guitar player. But, so onward and upward, right? So we... The last 3 videos, we accomplished getting all the way up to this B7 and just rolling it like that. Remember we said you could sit and do this all day if you just relax your arm a little bit, just let your fingers do the walking like the yellow pages or the white pages. You can just sit and do this all day long, you know. You could, it'd get a little boring, don't you think? But you could do it all day long if you wanted to. But we're not going to do it all day. We're going to do it to a certain count. Now, when you first start doing this, if you can't feel when it's coming to change, you're going to have to count. I'm going to let you do the counting because I can't play and count at the same time. So I'm going to kind of let you do that, all right? And this is when we're going to transition from the B, out of the B7 back into the E, okay? So I'm going to kind of walk through this pretty slow. And then you can count when I change. Matter of fact, somebody tell me in the comments how many times I rolled that B7 from start to finish before I went back into E. Because I don't know, okay? I just know when the change is there, I can hear it. If you're one of those that can't hear those things, don't worry about it. Count it out. And after you've done it several times, you will automatically then do it and you won't have to count every time, okay? All right, here we go. Speed it up just a little bit, okay? And then I'll show you how we come out of where we land when we come out of it, because that's the one missing ingredient at the moment on these videos. Okay, now hopefully you counted that. If you didn't, rewind it a little bit and count how many times I struck that B bass note. Coming out of the B7, and I'm just going to do a couple of little runs of it. No, I'm not. I'm going to do the whole B7. Pick up, everything's open, number 3, and hammer on E. which is really your really goal here is to pick up that number 3 string right here on the 1st fret with a hammer on with your E. By now you should be able to do this hammer on, okay? Swipe down with your forefinger, just like that. That takes the place of this number 4 bass note. So you're going to come back and pick up number 6. Number 2 string, number 2 fret, little finger. Strike number 4. Pick up on number 1. Number 6. Number 4. Now you're going to do a hammer on right here, just like you did before. As soon as you do it, pick up on number 2. And when you hammer on to that number 2 fret, number 2 string, hit that number 4 bass note. And pick up on number 1. And that's the end of it. That is the round of it right there. So it's hammer on, back at the nail, picked up, you hammered on with your 6th bass note. Come back, pick up number 6. Number 2 fret, number 2 string. Number 4 bass note after that. Number 1 string after that. 6, 4. So let's do it up to that. Now do a hammer on again with your number 6 bass note to your number 3 string, number 1 fret. Pick up on number 2, hammer down on the number 2 fret on number 2 string with your little finger. When you hammer down, hit that number 4 bass note. Pick up number 1. Pick up number 1 to hit number 6, 4, 6, 2, number 2 fret, number 2 string, then number 4 bass note, number 1 string, then 6, 4, 6, 4. So it's just like that. Let's do it again. Now I'm going to do zoom ins and close-ups of that, okay? On both ends. And you're not going to believe this, but there's 40 minutes of tape in front of this that I cut out because I could not explain that last part. I know how to do it, but I've never broke it down to thinking about that because really I only developed this for this beginning fingerstyle little arrangement here, and so it's a little thing I do. I've done 1,000 times just goofing around, but I've never counted it off and never looked at, you know, I kind of know where some of these melodies go now, so my hands will kind of do it without too much thought process, you know. I need all the help I can get, you know, no thought process and still able to execute something. I'm down with it. I don't know about you. Okay? All right. So now the whole song, and I think I can do it slowly now, okay? Or somewhat slowly. Just like that. You speed it up and take it all the way through. It sounds like this. Just like that. But anyway, folks, you kind of get the hang of this a little bit. Talk to me, you know. For those of you that are here for doing fingerstyle, tell me, how are you doing? I'm going to be interested to see that. Are you making progress? You know, if just one or two of you are following it for that, well, that's fine. There's three of us, right? Two or three in the mouth of two or three witnesses, right? So, but if you're following along, trying to learn a little fingerstyle, just let me know. Is this hitting the target? Do you have other questions? It's now been 5 or 6 years for me, and really I hadn't made that much progress for having played for 5 or 6 years fingerstyle. But I like what I do. Like I said, if you're a chair playing, back porch picking guitar kind of person, well, that's all I am. You know, I have no aspirations to do something different. You know, I like where I'm at. I like doing reviews on these guitars. I like learning about guitars. I just think they're pretty amazing. Pretty fascinating. The history behind the development of these guitars today, mind-boggling. And of course, I like these. This is solid birch back and sides on this old '69 Silvertone. You see me play it many a time. Scott Baxendale rebuilt this one, and man started his career out with Stuart Mossman, and then he bought Mossman. Some of the best players on the planet play a Mossman that Scott Baxendale built during his tenure after he bought Mossman, and then he sold Mossman and started making Baxendale guitars. Folks, some of the best players on the planet have Baxendales. They actually say Baxendale. They're custom-built guitars. And Scott, killer luthier. Just absolutely killer luthier. This was ladder-braced originally and sounded probably like, let's just say bad, okay? Anyway, folks, I hope things are helpful to you, but your comments, your emails, that's what lets me know what I need to do. I've got a few other things I think I can kind of give some tips on with beginning fingerstyle. I may do one more video and show some of those things that I think you can kind of practice around with, and to get you on your journey. And then I've taught several fingerstyle songs. Then I wouldn't say they were quality videos, but for most of us, with what we're trying to achieve, they work. Okay, and you can learn from those. But anyway, let me know what you think, and I always appreciate hearing from you. That makes my day when I see that phone go off and somebody's left a comment on the channel. most of the time. Overall, I've been on YouTube over a year now, and I think I've only had one or two kind of disrespectful, mouthy comments, but that's not bad when you think about it, especially when you think of how many people are watching the videos. I got some out there that's got, I don't know, I think over 15,000 views on them, and so I think that's pretty good, don't you? I mean, just a few comments. Most people are pretty respectful, especially other musicians or let's just say other people who play guitar or keyboards or whatever, trumpet, whatever they happen to play. Most folks that play music, most are pretty respectful, So we don't normally have any of those troubles on the channel. It's a good group of people. I'm glad I did this because this has been a lot of fun for me. Very enjoyable. And I hope it has for you too. Okay? Take care of your friends. Take care of your family. God bless. We'll see you next time.